It is pretty crazy how much of a blatant coup we just watched.
Oh,
And then I've seen people like Democrats on social media and stuff, and they'll call like people like us out, and they'll be like, well, first you said the guy was too senile to run, and now you're saying it was a coup when they removed him. You're like, yeah, both are true. I don't know what to tell you. The guy is clearly senile, and also he is still the president of the United States of America, and there's a process here.
They will they'll say, and it's just, the one thing I can't get over is not that people disagree with me. I assume people are always going to disagree with me. I'm often wrong. So it's like, it's okay to disagree with me.
The story of political power rarely unfolds in straightforward ways. Behind the carefully managed public appearances and official narratives lies a complex web of influence and strategic decision-making. This dynamic becomes particularly apparent when examining the political career and lasting influence of Barack Obama, whose rise to power and continued impact on American politics reveals sophisticated patterns of institutional support and narrative control. The seemingly organic nature of his political ascension masks a more calculated reality.
Now, of course, it wasn't what they presented it as. It wasn't like a grassroots campaign. He was approved of by the powers that be.
Of course.
He didn't just happen to, as a junior senator, get like a primetime speaking slot in 2004 where he gave that speech.
He wasn't even a senator yet.
Was he a state senator still at the time?
That's when I first met Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Walking down the street, smoking a cigarette in Boston on my way to dinner at the Palm. I'll never forget it. And I met him and Jesse Jackson Jr. They pulled over to say hi to me.
Really?
I'd never heard his name, and I covered politics for a living.
Right.
And he gave the keynote at the end of that week. That was Sunday night. He spoke on Thursday. And yeah, he was not a U.S. senator.
The careful cultivation of Obama's public image represented a masterclass in political messaging. His early campaign speeches struck powerful chords of unity and hope, resonating deeply with an American public eager for change. The sophistication of this messaging strategy demonstrated not just political acumen, but a deep understanding of how to shape public perception. These early messages of unity and reconciliation would later undergo significant transformation, revealing the calculated nature of political narrative construction.
And there was a broader, more unifying thing. I mean, I remember because he was such a powerful, like public speaker. I mean, he never really said anything, but it would still be beautiful.
Yes.
I remember in his acceptance speech at 2008 at the DNC, we had this whole line where he was like, I love this country, and so do you, and so does John McCain. The men and women who have fought for this country have been Republicans and Democrats and independents, but they fought together and died together, not defending a red America or a blue America, the United States of America. And just like, and then it's like, he didn't really say anything there, but but it was beautifully put.
As the administration progressed, a significant transformation occurred in both messaging and priorities. This shift wasn't merely a response to changing circumstances, but appeared to be a calculated strategic decision with far-reaching implications for American political discourse. The sophistication of this pivot demonstrated the deep institutional support and strategic planning that characterized the Obama era. Understanding this transformation helps illuminate the broader patterns of power and influence in American politics.
And it was around Obama's re-election campaign. This is where things really went off the rails in this country, was that he got in there and continued and expanded all the worst of the Bush policies.
Oh, of course.
And so they almost had nothing to run on. And so they decided to pivot to a culture war instead. And this was a decision, and again, I don't know exactly what the conspiracy is, but this decision was made from the top down. That I think it was a response to Obama's failures. It was a response to these movements like the Tea Party and Occupy Wall Street, which were getting a little bit too close.
That's right.
A little bit too close to the target. And all this, I'm sure you've looked at this before, but where there's these nexus charts and you can chart out like how many times all the woke terms are used.
The impact of these strategic decisions became increasingly apparent in the years that followed, particularly in the realm of public discourse and media coverage. Data analysis revealed striking patterns that suggested coordinated effort rather than organic evolution. These changes would fundamentally alter the landscape of American political dialogue, establishing new paradigms for how political narratives are constructed and maintained.
And people are waking up in a very profound way. I mean, it really is, it is all fake. And more people are aware of that. Like it's you if you zoom out and go like from my mother's, when my mother was my age to me being this age, it is unbelievable how much more people understand that this is all fake.
And you're right.
now.
Propaganda is the key. I mean, Joseph Goebbels, not to make everything a Nazi reference, but it was 5'4", crippled, never fired a gun in his life except into his own head in the end, never commanded an army.
The sophisticated networks of influence and control that shaped the Obama era continue to impact our political landscape today. Their effects can be seen in everything from media narratives to policy decisions, revealing the enduring nature of carefully constructed political frameworks. The transformation of American political discourse during this period provides crucial insights into the nature of power and influence in our democratic system.
Oh, I know.
It's not nearly as effective as it once was, but it is still there. And you see it like when people get taken over by the propaganda. It's such a bizarre thing. I mean, it's like talking to someone and there's no soul there when they just repeat back the propaganda to you or something. It was, oh, January 6th was an insurrection. And you're like, I'm not having a conversation with you. I'm having a conversation with like what Don Lemon convinced you're supposed to believe.
As we examine these complex patterns of influence and strategy, we've exposed how the Obama administration masterfully wielded propaganda and narrative control to reshape American political discourse. What began as promises of unity and post-racial harmony devolved into perhaps one of the most sophisticated operations of social division and cultural manipulation in modern political history.
And I said this to you last time, it's the great case for optimism, is that all of this government tyranny relies on propaganda, and the propaganda is being broken at an unbelievable rate. Things that would have seemed unimaginable very recently in my adult lifetime, like not, generations ago, but just years ago. And we're seeing that now. And people are waking up in a very profound way.
While the Democratic establishment continues to deploy these tested tactics of social division and carefully crafted narratives, their effectiveness appears to be waning as more Americans recognize the manipulation at play. The question now becomes, how much lasting damage has this era of sophisticated propaganda inflicted on our national unity? And can we recover from it? Share your thoughts below on whether you believe the Obama administration's strategic pivot to identity politics and cultural division was a calculated political decision, and how you think it has affected our ability to have honest political discussions today. Has your own understanding of media messaging and political manipulation changed since the Obama era? Let us know. And as always, thanks for watching.